We're good. We're gonna go ahead and start. Yeah, no, we're not. We
No,
are.
you know what, I can do it without a printed list of people.
You can do this. You've been doing this. We're gonna go ahead and call the meeting to order and begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. So if we could all please rise. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. And it's always a good reminder for our strategic priorities. We try to focus on community relations, resource management, recruit and retain quality staff, and academic excellence, and continue to partner with the community for real world experiences. So can you please do the roll call and establish a quorum?
McConnell.
Here.
Fisher.
Here.
Fields.
Here.
Dominick's absent, and Silva.
Here. Okay. And then would we have a motion to approve tonight's agenda? I will also move to approve the agenda.
Second.
I heard John first.
Take a break. Go ahead.
Sorry.
I can't hear that far.
I can't hear out of my right ear. So. Okay, motion in a second. Please call the roll.
Fisher.
Aye.
McConnell.
Aye.
Fields.
Aye.
Silva.
Open forum. This would be a time for anyone in our school district to speak on anything that's not on the agenda. So is there anyone here tonight that would like to speak during open forum? Okay, we won't linger too long on that one. We'll move on along to consent items. I think if we've all had a chance to review these, any questions or anything on these?
You might have to refresh your screen if you didn't see that, if the additional
This
bills
one?
aren't.
Oh. Any questions on any of that? You can see the hirings and resignations and transfers on the screen.
I'd move we approve the consent items as shown. Second.
We have a motion and a second. Please call the roll.
Fields. Aye. McConnell.
Aye.
Fisher.
Aye.
Silva.
Aye. Okay, moving on to old business, we have mowing services.
Yeah, for this, we're just looking at just kind of establishing a rate for some students who have agreed to do some summer mowing for us. And so just kind of looking for some comparables, reached out to a few other districts. Not many are using or having students, not using students, but having students mow. So we're just kind of looking for just kind of a discussion around what would be appropriate for those couple of students. So I've had two students come forward to me, which was Keegan Lawrence and Nick Madsen. So both great kids. So they just kind of looking to pay them a little bit for the summer. So
Do we need a motion to approve that or?
I
Is it
I guess
just
I'd like you
information?
to approve a rate if you can agree on one.
Oh, we need to determine the rate?
I can't pay them until you do. If you want to, you can wait until June to decide, but they won't get any pay then until July.
I said pay them in experience because that was tax free, but
I have no idea what the current rate for something like that would be for.
average rate of pay for associates is about $14.50, somewhere in that neighborhood.
I was thinking 15, but I don't know if that's enough or not. But it's a student.
Well, have they agreed to
And
do
it's
it
our
irregardless of pay?
And it's our equipment. that they're
Yeah, it's our
using,
equipment,
so-
sure. Yeah, they're just doing the labor, but I mean, they've taken the job without knowing what they're gonna get paid.
I told them it'd be somewhere between 14 and 16, so 15 seems to be right in between that number.
Well, I'll move $15. How many hours is it get? Who's gonna manage those?
Sean
Sean is, okay. Does Sean think that's a good pay range? Yeah. $15 an hour, I'll just come sit on a mower all day.
So we have a motion for 15. Do we have a second? I'll second that. Please call the roll.
McConnell.
Aye.
Fields.
Aye.
Fisher.
Aye.
Silva.
Good job. Thanks, kids. Okay, Moving on to reports, superintendent.
Yeah, before we do our student and staff recognition, some of you may not know that this is Board Member Recognition and Appreciation Month. So while we only have 4 of our 5 board members here, I just wanted to kind of have everybody join me in just kind of celebrating and thanking our school board members for the often thankless task they do of leading and guiding our school district, and just thank them for their really hard work and dedication to both our school district and our community. So if you could just join me in a quick round of applause for their appreciation. We have little certificates that came from IASB. So we've heard Bonnie.
Thank you. Only
I don't-
reason we do this.
We do-
Kidding.
The only pay they get? That's right.
John,
We got a friend.
Michelle, and then that's for Dexter. Yes.
Thank you.
Okay.
Well, thank you. Thank you for letting us do this, everybody. That's it.
So now we'll jump into our student and staff recognition. We'll start with elementary. Mrs. Heino.
Okay, you guys. Aiden, we didn't have a chance to practice this, but you're gonna go first. We're gonna do our students first, and we have to you have to come up here. Sorry. Okay, I'm gonna have you stand right there. There you go. All right, so how our students at the elementary are nominated to be recognized is teachers nominate the students. So this one was really fun, Aiden, and the kids don't know, by the way. Aiden Gersma. Okay, this is Aiden Gersma. He's a 4th grader. I do have all this in my notes, but I go a little rogue sometimes when you get up here. He's the son of Brent and Abby Gersma, and they both work at the school, but not in your building, right? Not always. So the kids don't know who nominates them, okay? You were nominated, Aiden, by a teacher completely in a different hallway, actually, than you. Well, one of the nominations was from somebody else. And this teacher teaches kindergarten, and she said, this is what she said about you. You go out of your way in the morning to talk with her, and you walk down that hallway probably when you know who he stops and he visits with me. He looks me in the eye, and that says a lot about you, buddy. And when you're in your classroom, you are kind to your friends, and you are a hard worker. Those were my notes that I wrote down from you. Helpful, kind, caring, and hardworking. So let's give Aiden a round of applause. You get a gift card too. Okay, thank you. The next. Okay, you're welcome, buddy. Congratulations. Okay, the next student I have is Haley Fouch. So come on up here. You can stand right over here. Okay, Haley is also a 4th grader. She is in Miss Lyons' class, and her parents are Dustin and Megan Fouch, and you brought them with you, didn't you? All right, this is what your teacher said about you, Haley, and you kind of heard the whole spiel, right? Your teachers nominate you. Here's what your teacher said. Haley is respectful, responsible, and most definitely kind, in all capital letters. And that's a big deal when somebody writes that, right? At any time there's a student who may be by themselves or does not have anyone to play with, Haley makes sure they're included in the group that she's in. Not only does Haley show her kindness in the classroom, but she also shows her desire to learn. She actively engages in the learning by participating in class activities and discussions. You can always count on Haley to have her hand raised and be ready to add to the learning. Probably in many ways, right? Hey, let's get Haley. All right, so our staff that we have, the first one is Heather Patrick. So come on up here, Heather. Heather, yeah, you can stand over here. It's probably better for you anyway. Heather is a paraeducator in our school. She is in a new position this year. She works with Mrs. Paulson in Mrs. Paulson's class. And a unique thing about Heather is she is a substitute that we can use also in wherever in the building as a substitute teacher. So Heather, that is one of the main things that actually your colleagues said about you. Heather is a great addition to our classroom. Like I said, it's her first year with Mrs. Paulson. She's patient and kind with all of our kiddos and willing to help other staff and our school however she can. You are always so positive and a joy to work with. So congratulations, Heather. Okay, now, staff, like maybe I mentioned with Heather, they nominate each other. Our staff members nominate each other. So one thing at the elementary that's happened a couple of times this year is we've had whole teams be nominated for, they work so closely with each other that's the next, group that we have. So the 4th grade team, come on up here. You haven't had to do this yet. So come on, come up here.
Yeah, it is.
What?
4th grade clean
It is. I thought that would work. Okay, so come on up here, 4th grade teachers, and I have a little something to say. Okay, so I don't know really where to start. First I'll introduce you, and then I want to say how many years you've been teaching and with our school. So I have that. So Paige Burns is her first year with us. She teaches 4th grade. Goodbye. It's her first year here at Greene County and your 3rd year teaching. Lauren Lyons, it's her first year at Greene County and first year teaching. Amanda Huff, it's her 6th year teaching and 6th year here at Greene County. She started her career with us. Stormy Fish has been teaching for 25 years, 4th grade, right? She started in East Greene and joined us over here at Greene County. And Karen Murphy, we just don't let Karen Murphy go. Karen Murphy, 38 years teaching 4th grade. So, now what makes this so special? Well, these guys are like, they just emulate a family. That's really what they're like. They all have different jobs, different strengths, different things that they're good at, and they all know what they are and they do them. And that's why they really nominated each other. It was actually funny. One of them said to me, I've been wanting to nominate my team all year and I haven't done it yet. So anyway, just wanted to recognize you guys as a team. Congratulations. Thanks for everything you do for our school and how well you work together. They play off everybody's strengths and weaknesses. I mean, I had so many things I couldn't read them all. So anyway, let's give them a round of applause. And Paige, Amanda, Lauren, and Karen was my 4th grade teacher too. Which is what makes this so special to me.
And I had David Wright.
Yeah. All right, thanks 4th grade teachers.
I'm looking around for my high school students, and I don't see 3 of them. We had 2 ties. 2 of them are working. They didn't know if they'd make it, and the other one, I think, has a bad case of senioritis. And so I'm going to talk about them anyway, even though they're not here. Students for the month for PBIS, Positive Behavior Intervention Supports, are nominated by the staff and then voted by the staff, and we have a 3-way tie. So there's 3 of them this time. Elsie Hooper was nominated by Ellen Morris, and she says, I nominated Elsie because she is kind and respectful. She always seems to have a smile and a hi when you meet her in the hallway. Also, she's very quiet in the library, good thing, and respects other people's space. So round of applause for her. Even next one, Michael Mills was nominated from Mrs. Carlson. Michael's a hard worker, motivated, and consistently asks clarifying questions. In public speaking class, Michael is always willing to listen to other students and give them excellent suggestions to make their speeches better. Michael is also kind and respectful to adults and peers. A round of applause for him, please. And the last student is Gabe Finsel, nominated by Lisa Garnett. Gabe is a fabulous student in work-based learning and generally all around great young man. He is polite and respectful, and every time you visit with him, And also, he was the one that helped me with a teacher recruitment video that you can find on the high school webpage. If you go up to the right-hand side, it says join us. You can see that video if you haven't seen it. It's very well done. He was part of that. So round of applause for him. The first staff member is Emily Gannon. I got a lot to say about her because this is her 11th year here. Probably one of the best decisions I made 11 years ago was hiring her. She's indispensable. She came to us from East Greene under the Iowa Safe Schools Coordinator grant or something along those lines. It's been a while. The first year on the job, she was known as the bullying lady because everybody didn't know her name, but all the gossip and drama and bullying, they went to her because she was the Iowa Safe Schools person. She's done a great job. She's now halftime tech, halftime counseling, and does an excellent job helping me with attendance, which I even wrote down a few facts about attendance. Last year, we were at, for average daily attendance, 89.6, which wasn't very great, and that became one of our building goals for the high school. This year, we're at 90.86, so we went up, which was good, very good. And also last year, we had the number of chronic students that we had, that's kids that had 18 days of absences of any kind, you're labeled a chronic student, was at a sorry 162, which was not good. And that became one of our building goals. And this year we're around 69. So we've really reduced that a lot. And I owe a lot of that to Emily Gannon. So a round of applause for her. And last is Chad Morton. Chad is one of those staff members that can deal with just about any kind of student personality and any kind of parent personality, kind or unkind, or high needs or not high needs. He's one of those type of people that continually amazes me with kids to get them to graduate. And sometimes there's not a lot of motivation from certain students because it's not a priority in their life. But he continually, year after year, amazes me with what he's able to do with kids. And probably the greatest compliment I can give him is I wish I had a duplicating machine and I'd run him through it several times. Thank you.
Okay, we'll take just a really quick recess and go get some pictures and we'll be back in here for.
We're very quick. Upwards there. We're going to the lunch.
So I believe that you like the systems that the NFL does with these guys, you take the worst team and ship them first. Or do you like how the NBA? Yeah.
It was so hard.
I think you should always take the worst team.
That should not be a problem. She texted me.
We always do really well against you.
It's your older sister.
Perfect. Right in the ground. Oh, you need Tom Jones surgery? Great, well, you go to some other team. We'll hang on to you for 10 years, put you on the bench. Right out your contract. Yeah.
It's either
That's
off or
it.
it's.
Never fails.
You know my other record? This one's worse.
Yes.
It's a work in progress.
Hey, guess what? We're 13 years apart. Which makes sense. And you're living in Australia.
Boy, you're talking
No.
70s.
Oh, what's it? I was pretty well.
But either way, I was still trying to have whatever it was, yeah. it doesn't taste good. Brandy, I did ask her why she wasn't
Somebody's on an agenda.
because she's naughty. But then I remember they were talking about nice people.
So she was just telling her.
I just got those bits, Brandon. Brady's first, Brady's supposed to be. So is he somebody who says? My due date is October 31st. My due date was.
I don't know.
Well, no, late babies are, they only let you go. Yeah.
I still be done.
I don't.
I don't care, I'm just done.
Yeah.
I think I should.
When I hear. It's got good handles. It's got good handles for the ball, yeah. Can't get him away from the
I think I
Be able to do that?
You can't vote.
Might be the smartest thing in the world.
I'm nervous just because this is the last one. I know, but.
I'll ask her
afterwards,
'cause it looks like we're ready.
I don't know, but she kind of had 2.5 minutes. Never really had the combination that push.
Yeah, but mine are 18 months apart.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll go ahead and resume here. Okay, we're on to, reports and correspondence, board committee reports. Does anyone have a board committee report to share? School Foundation had met and gave out a bunch of scholarships. All three of the high schoolers were mentioned got scholarships too, and Rick did that. That was great last night. Well, you were there.
I was there.
Any other committee report?
I'm missing a county conference board meeting right now, so
Well, we're going to hear that.
they're just voting on the budget. So they do that without me.
Okay, then we'll move on to other administrative reports. And that was the link for the slideshow from the different teams.
I just had a quick question about elementary school.
Yeah, I wonder, oh, there you are.
I was just curious what you did that we were able to decrease the, attendance.
Okay.
Oh, well, increase, that came out
Yes.
backwards, but you know what I'm saying?
Well, on May 1st, I was very happy because we are achieving our goal on May 1st. Now we have the whole month of May to go. So, there's still that. The first thing, we just increased really our awareness and communication with families. That was one big thing, and probably after COVID, that's something that has been talked of, our school has been so disrupted. So it was just making them aware. There's a website, Attendance Works, that has some really good flyers for families, and for teachers that just helps educate us on why it's important to be at school, number one. So we just increased our communication with our families. But also our staff, we just paid attention to our data. We set a goal, we collected our data, we had a little bit of an idea in the winter where we were at. And we talked with all of our teams after our winter data, because we hadn't quite met our goal of 50%. And what we decided would be best was just to have some student check-ins. It was really more looking at what would have been the reason that they were flagged as, being chronically absent at that time. Maybe they just needed to have a positive experience at school or have somebody to connect with. Maybe it was a family that we needed to talk with. So we just individually, team by team, looked at the kids and just tried to come up with what's the why. And that was some of the things that we put in place, especially since like March and spring break time, that we really hit hard. And so, May 1st, I said, hey, we've been working really hard on some of those things, checking in with kids, communicating with families, just being aware of our data. where are we at now? You know, I just, can you give us some wind in our sails is what I said to her. And we were meeting our goal on May 1st because it was to decrease by 50%. It was 29% last year, 14.5. I was like, okay, one more month to go. So we're close. So yeah, that's some of the things that we did.
Any other comments or questions on that one? We're gonna move on to other reports and correspondence.
Yep, I have Kirk Davis here from our student construction class. Just to give us a little bit of a ballpark update on the current student construction project and just talk through, again, no action needed, just more of a just throw it out there as an idea item for the project for next school year.
So our current construction project, the storage building south of the high school, we have almost all the side steel on except for about 48 feet on the north side, which is still a pain because it has all the door openings there. And then liner steel on the first two bays inside, which that should go pretty fast, but it's not in yet. So we're set pretty good on that. Bathroom is kind of roughed in, and we started hanging some drywall in there. And so at that point, we're almost be ready to kind of pass off to our subs to spray foam, run electrical, finish the plumbing out, and then next fall, right away, we'll pour the concrete approach for the building. So set pretty good on that for the challenges of wind and weather and all that good stuff. So that's going pretty well. We sat down, Teresa Greene, myself, Mr. Abbott's, kind of talked about next year's, what else do we do? We kind of went through some ideas. And then I kind of had the recollection that talked to Sean DeMoss one time. He said one of our really big needs is something to be done with the bathroom area at the football track, baseball field, just because
It's
of
terrible.
what it is. Okay. So you kind of all know what I'm talking about. Right now, I was able to get in the men's restroom. It's 9 by 11. It has 4 urinals, 1 sink, 1 toilet. I think the women's has 3 toilets in it and 1 sink. Pretty inadequate during track meets, football games. Maybe not so much for kind of slow travel for baseball, but bigger events is probably not real adequate. So I kind of brought up the idea of what if we kind of provide most of the construction end of it. I think the biggest cost obviously is going to be plumbing. If you do something, the plumbing is going to be a big cost, I think. And my thought is to do new on the north end of the football field, kind of where the old high jump area is, at least in that vicinity. And that would probably kind of help both home and visitor for football, and then baseball could travel and use that. Basically what I'm wondering is how much you want me to go into it as far as, kind of how many bathroom stalls. Is that something that the board would be interested in kind of putting some numbers together for you in June, at least some rough numbers to what that cost would be?
Somewhere there is a design.
Oh,
Because it was 4 or 5 years ago.
wow.
We did this. We talked about it.
Okay.
And I got shot down.
Oh,
So we talked about this very exact plan. We were actually gonna do bathrooms and a little bit of concession together
yeah.
on the north end of the football field. I
Okay.
don't remember how many years ago that was. It might have even been 6 years ago. But this plan has been, we
Okay.
talked about it before, because we actually bid on part of it. at one time. So it's out there somewhere.
Do you remember what the specs were? Or
I don't, I thought it was like 6 and 6 maybe on the bathrooms.
That seems
And then we had,
seems-
kind of the numbers that I've talked to some people. I brought it up to Sean and I told him, I said, you know, kind of visit with Adam, kind of get your ideas together, and then I'm gonna kind of gather if you guys wanna approach that.
get in touch with Jessie Riley, because she was kind of a big one talking about it like
Boosters was
that.
kind of,
Yeah, Boosters was
pushing it.
pushing it pretty hard. 'Cause it was a whole design for concessions, bathrooms and everything, so. I'm glad it's coming back. It's just, we needed it.
Yeah,
It's
it's
not getting any better.
definitely not.
When we host, the
very-
ability to host, like we're hosting, regional soccer here.
Yeah.
Next week, and, we have like 3 other communities coming outside. It's like, what are they gonna remember?
Right.
So
Right.
that's.
Well,
something
I
we're
just,
walking
I
around.
know that if you continue to use the facility during the fall, it's not great, but at least you have one there. You can still bring in some portables and we could be doing new construction. If you try to revamp that one, then you're really kind of,
We were trying to get that and get away from the one at the baseball field completely and demolish it and then do bleachers around the back of home plate was the end goal at the baseball field, but
I think the other thing to keep in mind as we budget for this is probably someday that all the athletic facilities are gonna move, right?
right, yeah.
So this is gonna be kind of a short-term fix, I think, or, it might be 10 or 15 years, but I'll bet you within 15 years, there's gonna be, wouldn't you think, Dave, there's gonna be.
I would hope so.
Yeah, I mean, that's been the plan since we bought that land out there is, eventually moving the athletic complex out by the new high
I
school.
mean, I think that's kind of the quandary we're in, because things need to be done out there now. And how far along are we before we would be able to do that?
Right.
How long will it take before the community, supports that, or we have the funding to do that? So, and I will say, since I've been here, I would say the football bathrooms have been probably the number one. If I took the number of things that people have talked to me about, how many times is probably at the top of the list. I was even in the 6th grade or 5th grade, my wife's class, listening to their persuasive speech, and I think 3 or 4 6th grade or 5th graders were like, "We need new bathrooms." The football,
I had one bring it
Mr.
up too.
Abbott's. So, I mean, but yeah, that's the question. I think it just comes down to, we need to have facilities now, that are adequate, so.
Are you thinking this would be a next fall project?
A project.
So it wouldn't be ready till the following fall?
Well, yeah, I try to, since it's a smaller facility, try to
spring maybe.
push a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah,
not
push
for
harder
football.
for track season.
Yeah.
That it might be ready for that and then baseball. So, that's just one of my thoughts, and that's if we can get the kind of motion going now, then I can have some pre-planning done, so when we step in, we're not waiting on, dig
John,
permits
you're on that
and concrete
construction.
help and,
John's your construction committee, so.
okay.
Who else is on that?
Just John.
I think it's just me.
Just
yeah.
John?
Committee of one.
You can handle it.
But
It's all we need.
It sounds like the vibe is to keep moving forward with that
Okay.
idea.
I'll try to get some numbers and
Yeah,
Visit
really,
with
this
you
is just
a little
about
bit.
presenting the idea, any feedback, any
Yeah.
suggestions, any things that, so we can kind of get an idea of, so that to help Kurt really kind of get some better numbers
Something
together.
handicap and private would be great.
yeah, we'll definitely have to have that's
Any other reports other than the
That's
fundraiser
it.
reports?
Not gonna be here. Pretty here.
Okay, and there was just one fundraiser reporting form. Do you need that approved?
no,
Okay,
that's just.
very good.
information.
Okay, then we're gonna move on to new business, which is the school driving permit. So thank you guys for waiting and listening. So this is gonna be Michelle, and she's gonna take over this little part of the thing here.
Okay, so I should have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 students who are wanting to get their school permit, what I'd like you to do, stand up, tell me, or tell us your name, where you live, and why you would like a school permit. And I'm just gonna go down the list here as I have it, so Ethan Parsons.
I'm Ethan, live at 969 30th Street, Bagley. And the reason I think I should get my school permit, because I have sports, and my mom has two younger ones that have sports, so she drives in there at the same time, so it's kind of hard to be two places at once.
All right, thank you. Peyton?
I'm Peyton Sherman. I live outside of Scranton, and I'd like to get a school permit because sometimes it's hard for my parents to be able to take me to sports practices. So it'd just be easier if I could take myself.
Elena Hurd?
I'm Elena Hurd, I live in Jefferson, and I'd like a school permit because I do a lot of sports. And my mom works, so it's kind of hard to be everywhere.
I agree. Chance Sanderson?
I'm Chance. I live over by Russell Park in Jefferson, and I think I would like a school permit because my mom works at 7 a.m. and school obviously starts at 8:15, so it's kind of hard just to be sitting at school until 8:15 for classes start when she used to work at 7.
Sophie?
I'm Sophie. I live in Scranton, and I think I should get a school permit because I'm involved in mainly just softball and away games. Bus doesn't get home till 11 midnight, and my parents have to wake up at like 3, 4 in the morning for work, and they just don't get enough sleep because they have to pick me up.
And Olivia?
I'm Olivia, and I live in Scranton, and why I think I should get a school permit is because I'm in a lot of school and other activities, and both of my parents, like my dad works at night, so he sleeps during the day, and then my mom's usually gone throughout the day, and my brother, he's usually at other activities.
Okay, so do you all have this form, the one similar to it from the DOT? Okay, so I'm just gonna highlight a couple of things from this form just to make sure that you know that you can drive from your house to school, from school to your house. That's your route. If you need to stop and get gas somewhere, just the closest location. But you're supposed to, that's what your school permit allows you to do. Riding in the car with you can be people that live in the house with you. So if you've got younger siblings, you can take them if they're going to the same location as you. And you can take up to one other non-family person with you if your parent says that's okay. So they have to sign off on that as well. And that can be taken away as well. But yes, but you can't pick them up. They have to come to your house, you pick them up, take them into town. How often can you use your phone while you're driving? None phones. You know where you're going, so just put your phone away. Let's see, no electronic devices. If you get pulled over, there's a chance that if you don't have a very gracious officer, that you could lose your school permit and you lose it for 6 months. And that would really, really suck. Keep in mind that it's not just officers that are watching, there's people in the community. And the school board, we are granting you the school permit. So we can also ungrant you the school permit. So just follow the rules. Okay, then what happens next? I'm going to make a motion that we approve the names that are listed on here to be granted a school permit.
Talk about the timing.
Oh, and the timing. Oh, I forgot about the timing. This
This is where it gets rough.
This is
for
gonna be tough for you,
baseball
Sophie,
players, softball
because you can drive between 5 a.m. and 10 p.m. So what that means is if the bus doesn't get in till 11, technically you have to find a ride home.
That's me.
Yeah.
You can do it.
It also depends on where we're going.
Right.
And when we actually make it
So I
out.
need to pay attention to my
Weather.
work schedule. Fair enough.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Yep. Yep.
You can always drive.
No,
Nobody
they're
says you
telling me
can't do
something
it.
I didn't know. And I'm saying that's fair. Mind your hands.
Yeah, so between 5 a.m. and 10 p.m. That's when you are allowed
There's a
to
thing,
drive.
there is a thing for prom though, because prom's like a late night deal. There's a waiver that you can get when that comes around, that you can sign that allows you to drive
Oh, yeah.
after the 10 o'clock. It used to be, I'm pretty sure it's still there, but I don't think, it's not on
The
there. but-
softball bus just doesn't speed on its way home at all. It really does not.
Students say these are
Yeah.
Okay, so I made the motion.
Do we have a
I'll second.
second?
I'll second.
All right, there's a motion and a second. Please call the roll.
Fisher.
Aye.
McConnell.
Aye.
Fields.
Aye.
Sobel.
Aye.
So what you do now is, you've got your form, bring it up, and Bonnie will sign. And then your next step is you have to go to the courthouse, and they will issue you your actual permit.
Can you guys make sure your name's at the top? If not, you can write a pen up here. Okay, thank you.
But I still have.
Well, I didn't want to. All right, what do you say? What do you say? Thanks.
You're welcome.
We'll get there, I still have time.
Okay.
What was today?
Oh.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, thank you. And you guys are welcome to stay, or you are welcome to take off now.
It's like-
There you go, thank you. Okay, we are gonna keep moving on along to fundraising requests. And we have one for the popsicles for baseball, Julie Kennedy selling popsicles.
Is it national on the side?
Oh, did I read that?
Yes, it is.
Oh, proposed time is for baseball, but it's a fundraiser for NHS. That makes more sense with Julie's name on it. Okay, so do we have a motion to approve the fundraiser?
I'll move we approve the fundraiser as shown.
I will second that motion.
Okay, motion and a second, please call the roll.
McConnell.
Aye.
Fields.
Aye.
Fisher.
Aye.
Sobel.
Shared bowling, I feel like this is Dave's.
Yeah, it's just, we have already have an agreement for sharing all the other, activities that we do, and this is a new sport, so I just like to have the board.
With PC, just
Yeah, just
making
add
it.
it to what we already, the agreement we already have.
Did they express interest in, joining the bowling? team
Yes,
as well?
they reached out about it.
Almost immediately, I think.
Okay, so we would just be looking for,
Oh, yeah, one thing.
How about
I
basketball?
would like us to consider this as we move forward. I'm not a huge fan of picking and choosing which sports we share. I feel like I would like it to be a goal that we move to either, like we do all of our sports together, or we do none of our sports together. So that's it.
and I feel like that's something we should probably put when we meet with them.
We never
Yeah.
have a board meeting.
Yeah, and just chit chat about it. Okay. So do we have a motion to go ahead and approve
I'll move to approve bowling, sharing bowling with Peyton Sheridan.
the experience? We have a motion
I'll second.
and a second. Motion and a second, please call the roll.
Fields.
Aye.
McConnell.
Aye.
Fisher.
Aye.
Sobel.
Aye. Thanks, Dave.
Aye.
Okay, then the boundless cashless proposal, so the Bound app moving to cashless ticketing. Any questions on some of that, or? It looks like there'd still be kind of a safety net if somebody only has cash.
Yeah, it's,
To figure it
it's called the path to cashless, basically. The conference is going this route. So any away games are gonna be cashless. Now if someone shows up, we're not gonna tell them they have to leave or anything like that. We're just not gonna have a cash line average, there, but if they don't have a card, we will take their money or whatever, so. That's kind of, all the tournament series are that way, unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on how you look at it. I think that's the way it's gonna move. I know from a accounting perspective, not having a bunch of cash and different people handling it, I think that's a bonus. We get, a report, we can just click, this summary, we're there, and it's clean that way. I understand some people might resist that a little bit, but this conference, the people that I've talked to that have already done it said they would not go back to cash, that it has worked out well for them, so. And basically what this does with our Bound program, this was part of the deal to be able to use that platform the way we have been without having to pay for it. So that's part of it.
Well, I think with any change, our first year will probably be the most painful. But it's not foreign to us because the, district and regionals require it, so.
And they provide the card readers that goes along with it, so we don't have to purchase those. They can hook to iPads we already have, that kind of thing. I do, to be transparent, part of, they have advertising on there, and I am gonna purchase the rights for advertising so that they're not sending their people into the community and talking to businesses. It'll be done in-house or however we decide to do that, and we get a break on that. So basically, you can either just not pay them anything and they'll do it themselves, and then they'll take the chunk that we would pay and then start splitting revenue sharing. But with the way we have things right now with the video board at the high school under varsity group, we have this video board out here. I just don't want multiple people coming to our businesses and doing that. So I think it's like $2,100, and then any ads that we would sell for that platform would be 100% ours. So that's what I chose to do. I just think that's better than having other people coming in and bugging the businesses. So that would be the only cost.
Is that an annual?
That would be annual, yeah. Yeah. If we had to purchase everything that was involved with it, we're probably looking at pushing $5,000.
Will you more than make up for that $2,100 in ad revenue?
I believe we will, yes.
Any other questions on?
Do we need motion on this?
I think we do.
I'll move that we approve the agreement for the Bound cashless proposal with the conference.
I'll second that motion.
We have a motion and a second. Please call the roll.
McConnell.
Aye.
Fields.
Aye.
Fisher.
Aye.
Sobel.
All right. FFA trip request. It looks like they want to travel out of state. This feels familiar. We approved this last year. Looks like they want to take the same trip. So do we have a motion to approve?
I will make a motion to approve the out of state travel.
Second.
A motion and a second for the FFA. Please call the roll.
Fisher.
Aye.
McConnell.
Aye.
Fields.
Aye.
Sobel.
Have fun. Elementary music supplement.
Yeah, so just on our supplemental schedule, this just kind of cleans up where it says assistant middle school and high school music. Since Brenda Roberts is making the transition from the middle school to the elementary. So it's just kind of just replacing assistant middle school, high school music with elementary music. Because there's plenty of things that our elementary music teacher does to prepare that would more than warrant that rate of an additional stipend. All the concerts, it's just 5 grade levels worth of conferences or concerts rather to prepare for and make happen. And so just cleaning that up,
So no money changes, just the title change.
just the title change.
So do we have a motion for that?
I'll make a motion to approve the elementary music supplement change.
Second.
A motion and a second. Please call roll.
McConnell.
Aye.
Fisher.
Aye.
Fields. Aye. Silva.
Aye. Okay, the next one is the 23-24 Region 12 Transit System Agreement. I believe it's similar, if not the exact same as last year with no price increase. So that's for transportation for students that need it. So do we have a motion to approve that agreement or any questions on that?
Move we approve the Region 12 Transportation Agreement for 23-24.
I'll second that motion.
So motion and a second, please call roll.
McConnell.
Aye.
Fisher.
Aye.
Fields.
Aye.
Silva.
Aye. Okay, next up is the middle school playground proposal.
Yep, so the middle school, a team from the middle school presented this to me back on May 9th, just to look at having a playground here at the middle school, just because we still have a requirement to provide kids with some activity. So I have Sam Talene and Matt Paulson are here to talk about any of the planning process. If you guys have any questions or anything beyond this, a lot of work and time and energy went into everything that they have here, where they want to put everything, as far as the pricing of it, the options for students. This was a lot of student involvement. They did some surveys there with students. They did a top 3 and the next 3, and were able to accommodate pretty much all of it. So they'd be, I think it's on the second to last slide there is the total proposed amount. But there's an option that if we did some sort of like maybe a community install day, or we could, I don't want to keep leaning on our construction class, but we could lean on our construction class to help us with some install there. That would take off about $8,700 worth of install. So that number, that 61,835, would come down to more like, quick math, 53-ish. So yeah, Sam and Matt are here if you guys have any questions or want to talk through anything with them before you guys can make a decision.
Well, I think it's great and necessary. If there's not enough for them to do.
I see it's aimed at 5th and 6th graders, but with 7th and 8th, is it size appropriate for that age as well?
Yeah. 5th and 6th grade have more built-in recess time, at least how the schedule's been the last few years. So they'd spend more time on it. The 7th and 8th graders still do go out, and working with 7th graders, I know they'll use it too. And just having everything in one location makes it for supervision for people in recess duty instead of them spread out over the entire back part of the building. Plus, we got Gaga ball up front and stuff on the side. When you have limited people out there already, and spreading them out with 80, 90 kids, condensing them into a smaller area makes that a lot easier, a lot safer for the kids.
Well, and giving them something to do, I think out there will alleviate some of the behaviors you see when you're out there for 20 plus minutes and you have nothing to do. That tends to be some of the things they do is get after each other. So this might alleviate some of that. I think it's pretty essential that we get something for that. Mr. Zanders and the committee had also talked to that also, which Cindy's not here tonight, but he also mentioned, this would also be something that would contribute to our community as well, because it will be something that could be used. And I can attest, as I'm sure Cindy can, the large number of kids that picked up over in this area, it'd be available just like the elementary is for them to use after school, during school.
And have you guys got any word back from whether Boost is going to kick in anything at all?
I have not.
We were under the impression they would do something,
Yeah.
but I don't know that we've heard anything.
That's kind of the vibe I'm getting, is that they'll do something, we just don't know what yet.
Right. So at this point, are you looking for a motion for up to 62,000, basically?
Not to exceed, yeah.
Not to exceed 62,000.
One of the things that I've learned so far is that you always want to think about a contingency too. So something in
5%.
maybe a 5%, so maybe that amount maybe would not exceed 65, just to make it a nice, easy number to work with, and
And then does this come out of PEP?
and it would be July 1, it'll be next year.
And was the installation
So
timeline?
Did I see that?
there was, I don't think you guys had a
In
timeline for
a
install.
meeting, he talked, that Mr. Sanders did that, I think he was maybe shooting for this summer, because he talked that if someone on the committee would be kind of near to kind of check in on it. I mean, obviously the district office
It'll
is
just have
here,
to happen after July 1, that's all.
so, yeah.
Which is why I thought
so-
that was.
Sometimes.
Since he's,
Right, yeah, and both Matt and I live near if they need us.
And we can get a timeline based on what happens here in about 2 minutes.
Yeah. Well, and I think your proposal was great, like an obstacle course, basketball hoop, and I love that the kids' top 3 choice swings. Like
Right,
they miss
that
swings,
was-
that's
yeah.
just keep them innocent a little longer, which I think parents want. Yeah.
would this have to come back to the board if you bid it out in order to approve a bid? Would that be done before July 1, or do they not have to do that to the board?
Since it's within us under a certain amount, we don't technically.
You don't have to bid it out and have the board approve it. Okay. All right, thank you.
And not that it matters, but just in talking with my dad, who's director at the rec, and he's been putting a lot in, as far as Parks and Rec go, he said it's spot on as far as like the pricing, and that's very comparable to what he's been.
Has the equipment turnaround time been a little faster?
You're right, because we had that issue with the rec,
Yeah.
and I know now it's been coming in for him, so I don't know that we've heard any issues as far as.
Mr. Zanders made it sound like he's pretty confident that that wouldn't be an issue.
Unless it got pushed back a month.
Right, I know. When he wasn't here today, Matt and I very quickly and kindly volunteered to come in. We did not want it to wait a month, so the ladies in the office heard me about 35 times today, like, don't take it off, we're gonna do this.
So I think we're looking for a motion for up to 65,000 to approve the playground, or I'm gonna just call it the recess equipment for the middle school. Would we have a motion for that, or any other questions?
I will make that motion to approve up to $65,000 for recess equipment.
I'll second.
Okay, motion and a second, please call the roll.
McConnell.
Aye.
Fisher.
Aye.
Fields.
Aye.
Silva.
Cool, thanks for all the time. Getting that all together. Okay, ESSER capital expenditures.
Yep, so these have already been filed through the DE with approval, so just some last, last hanging out ESSER funds there, so we'll be doing a total of 8 heat pumps now in the elementary. After these 8, the oldest one will be from 2022, so they'll all be done, I believe, so that's pretty cool. So all of the middle school and elementary carpet and flooring replacement that we'll do, we're gonna redo some sections of the hallway, the middle school teacher lounge. I'm gonna get rid of that carpet and make that all like a vinyl tile there. So that'll all be just an ESSER expenditure. So we've already filed the application with the DE and they've already approved it. So now we just need your approval to make it go.
Okay. Does yours look different than mine? Mine's a grass.
You're on the wrong
You're
one.
You're on the capital.
You got ahead of
Oh,
yourself.
thank you. That
For
makes
the
a lot
summer
more sense
projects.
with what you were saying. Okay. So do we have a motion for ESSER capital expenditures or any questions on that?
I will make a motion to approve the ESSER capital expenditures.
Actually, you've already approved one of them, so no, I just wanted to get it all out there so you can have a good visual of it. So I'll list them, but
Okay, so we have a motion. Do we have a second?
Yeah, I'll second it.
Motion and a second. Please call the roll.
McConnell.
Aye.
Fisher.
Aye.
Fields.
Aye.
Silva.
Aye. The summer project purchases list.
Yep, so 4 additional ones there. We have a Dixie chopper mower. The one that we have now, we'll move that over to Grand Junction so that we won't be moving and hauling mowers anymore from there. Plus that one mower that we'll move over there is 16 years old. So rather than just continually repairing it, and we just put a new engine in it last year, or the year before, which wasn't super cheap. Murphy Construction got what I thought was an incredibly reasonable bid for Andy to remove there's 4 buildings back here behind the middle school, 2 greenhouses, the fish shack, and then another like shed of some sort. We actually are going to bid out. I've had a couple of community members ask about the larger and the newer of the 2 greenhouses, if they could purchase it. So we're going to put out bids for that to approve that in June. So and Andy's bid there may go down once it'd be kind of like a you haul it, you buy it, you haul it type thing, and it'll be bids on the 21st, which is our June meeting, and then we'll have to have it going by June 30, so that we can start after the 1st of July there. So that's that, and then some nutrition stuff, a new walk-in cooler freezer for the elementary. It's gonna be a big one, so Duluth is pretty excited about that. And then some work to be able to redo some the walk-in cooler refrigeration for here at the middle school. That's nutrition fund though. So those are those 4 additions to our summer project list. It's a big one.
Do we have a motion to approve the additions in yellow?
Yeah, I'll move we approve the additional 4 summer projects as shown.
In a second.
I'll second.
Okay, motion in a second. Please call the roll.
Fields.
Aye.
McConnell.
Aye.
Fisher.
Aye.
Silva.
I'm gonna abstain just because LD Services is a relative of mine and we may financially benefit if somebody in our family helps with that project, so. Yeah, I know I didn't tell you on purpose, so it passed without anything, so thank you all for voting. Just to stay in clear water, I don't think anyone would ever say a word about it.
Yep. No, I didn't.
Okay, motion carries. What else we got? Oh, and the last one, we're doing board policy review 500 through 501.8. I think this was a lot on student.
Equal educational
Yeah. I
opportunities.
didn't see any changes.
Resident students, non-resident students,
Mhm.
transfers, and
Transfers.
compulsory attendance.
No changes on that, so is there a motion to approve?
I will move to approve board policies 500 through 501.8 as presented.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion and second, please call roll.
Fisher.
Aye.
McConnell.
Aye.
Fields.
Aye.
Silva.
Aye. Meeting adjourned, 6:19.
Oh, Mr. Phillips, he's still here.
Yeah.